everybody? I want to welcome you back to Knicks Deli, baby. I'm your host, Sheer, and you already know we are first to many and second to no one when covering the news, team views, and the who's who connected to our New York Knicks, baby. Yes, it's the final day of 2024. The final day. First off, give yourselves a round of applause for that. Final day of 2024. Yes. Damn, it's been a hell of a year. Particularly for our New York Knicks. So take this opportunity first and foremost, man. If you've made it to this point, give yourself some credit. Because not many people know maybe the path that you've traveled. So the fact that you're even here checking out this video, give yourself some credit. And Happy New Year ahead of time. But if you are here, it's because you're a fan of our motherflipping New York Knicks. Our 8 in a row New York Knicks. Even the Raiders are here. Waiting to hear what we talk about in terms of our 8 straight wins New York Knicks. So round of applause for our New York Knicks, baby. If you're here and you visited this video for the first time, this channel for the first time, I want to welcome you. I appreciate it. Do me a favor. Hit that likes up button. Subscribe. And at the end of it, if you're feeling it, share it with a friend, But let me explain to you how Knicks Deli works. I am the owner of Knicks Deli. I'm also the chef, goddammit. I'm the proprietor of Knicks Deli. And this is what happens. There are only 4 items on the menu here at Knicks Deli. First item on the menu is the bacon, egg, and cheese. So everybody knows that New York has that best breakfast sandwich in the world. So the bacon, egg, and cheese has 3 components to it. And here in Knicks Deli, we're going to look at what are the 3 components that, when combined, in terms of being players on this team, really helped us get this victory in this game. Next item on the menu is the dollar slice. Everyone knows New York has the best pizza in the world. I'll continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. So we're going to talk about who's the dollar slice of the game here today at Knicks Deli. And the dollar slice represents stability in New York because it's a stabilizing piece of the culture of New York. Next item on the menu is the chopped cheese. Chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be bussin'. So we're going to talk about who's the chopped cheese of the game, who came in and really made an impact on the game, help us get over the top. And lastly, you can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here in New York, and here in Knicks Deli, we call that the quarter water of the game. So we're going to look at who's the quarter water of the game. Who is that player that came in and injected energy into a quarter or a little bit over a period of 4 quarters and really helped us wrap up this victory? Okay, so those are the great parts of the menu here in Knicks Deli. Then we keep a particular menu item on the deli menu for those people who may be out of towners. Sometimes you got people come in and everything is wrong with their plate, and then they send it back and they ask for something else. Well, we come back to the table, we let them know, like, you know what, we don't got anything else. And they're like, well, what do you have? And we're like, we got the perfect item for you. And for that, they get the glizzy of the game. So the glizzy of the game goes to someone who just can't shut the F up. Or they say something real sideways or they do something crazy. And we just want to shut them up the way New Yorkers know how to shut people up. We give them the glizzy. Give them the glizzy of the game. So that's what we're going to talk about, who gets the glizzy of the game. And then lastly, here in Knicks Deli, we're going to talk about who has the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And that's for somebody that does something. It could be connected to our New York Knicks or not. Does something, says something that makes you look at the screen sideways and go, nah, son, nah. You wildin'. Then we're going to wrap it up, man, for 2024, baby. It was a great way to end 2024 in a visit to Knicks Deli. So let's get into it without further ado. So, first and foremost, just welcome you all back. It was a great victory last night. Second time in as many nights that we beat up on the Washington Wizards. And what we know for a fact is the New York Knicks were able to wrap up 2024 with a 126-106 victory over the Washington Wizards. That now gives us a record of 23-10 on the season. Oh my gosh. That puts us into 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. Can you believe that? 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. That even puts us in terms of the power rankings. Knicks fans, we talking about power rankings now. 3rd in the NBA in terms of power rankings. 3rd. Come on, man.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
So like I said a little bit earlier, this was the second game of a back-to-back with the Wizards. So it wasn't back-to-back in terms of last night and then the previous night. This was the last 2 games was facing the same team. So it was a great game, the first game. You know, those young Bucks really came out and they really tried to assert themselves and try to steal a win. I think they went into it saying, if we can get 1 or 2, you know, that's impressive for us. That would be a basis for us to build on, you know, because New York is an impressive team. But what we noticed last night was they did make some adjustments. They definitely made some adjustments in terms of how they guard Jalen Brunson, who dropped the 55 burger on them in the game before. So they came out, they definitely was just like, nah, we need to adjust, man. We need to try to slow this dude down from the jump. And they did that. But what I was proud of in terms of this New York team was New York came out of the gate saying, we ain't playing around with our food today. We ain't playing around with our food today. We're going to have to make adjustments. We're going to have to read the game, and we're going to have to come out with the appropriate amount of energy as opposed to the amount of energy we came out with in the very first game. And they did that. They absolutely did that. Just when it seemed like the Knicks, just like when it seemed like the Wizards had adjusted to Brunson and would attacked our team differently, then we had another player step up. And that's been the calling card of this season with this New York Knicks team. Who's going to step up when we read how the team is playing us? And the person who stepped up last night was who they now call Controlled Chaos. Controlled Chaos stepped up. Our boy Josh Hart, the other half of the roommates, stepped up. And I knew it was his night when the man had 3 straight 3-pointers in a row. So since we're already talking about Josh Hart, let's dive into the menu. First up is the bacon, egg, and cheese. And who gets the bacon? Our boy Controlled Chaos, Josh Hart. Round of applause for Josh Hart. Yeah, Josh Hart made a statement last night. And this is something, man, I can't wait to talk about this further on in the video, because this is just representative of this year's iteration of the New York Knicks. Josh Hart went out there, man, and he had himself a night. He had himself a night. I often think about when players around the league, former teams from around the league, former GMs and management front offices from around the league that had Josh Hart on their team, when they see how Josh Hart is playing, do they regret moving on from him? Do they now regret saying, what happens when you let a player develop? What actually happens when you let a player cook? You know, I don't know. We don't know what type of player Obi Toppin is going to be if he lands on the right team. We don't know what type of player RJ Barrett or Emmanuel Quickley are going to turn out to be. But we see the type of player when given the right opportunity in the right situation, what they could turn out to be. Josh Hart, I'm sure nobody had an idea. The man right now is tied for 4th place with triple doubles in the organization. Tied with Julius, I believe. What are we doing? What are we doing? This man blacked out last night. He blacked out last night. He had 23 points, 15 rebounds, continuing to be the best rebounding guard in the NBA. People, it's so funny. Knicks fans are funny. Knicks fans sometimes either they overdo it, you know, and I lean on that side sometimes. I overdo it. I know myself. I'm self-aware. I overdo it sometimes. Or they don't do enough. So they want to point out, oh yeah, we good. They're always waiting for the shooter to drop off. You know, so that PTSD is strong in many of us Knicks fans. So I got some of them chiming in on my video like, yeah, but, them yeah, but ninjas. Yeah, but, Yeah, and they're here now. But, so leave it in the comment because I know it's coming. But 23 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals. Listen, man, Leon Rose is really going to go down in NBA history as one of the best GMs, especially if we win a championship. He definitely is going to go down as one of the best GMs in New York for what he was able to do. And I'm definitely going to create a video about all those people who on the move when Jim Dolan, yes, Jim Dolan, the New York Knicks owner, decided to go that route and hire him as a former agent. And then completely give up the reins to him and let him do his basketball thing. It's going to be in the annals of history that this move was made, because he's made the move for Josh Hart, and Josh Hart automatically impacted winning the moment we signed him. And it's been the case ever since. And then we're coming up on the anniversary we've already hit the anniversary of getting OG Anunoby. Knicks fans were in their panties about that one. And then we see that this man has done nothing but win. Shout out to Knicksverse, my guy George, who pointed out the percentage. He talked about, I think we won close to 77% of the games that OG Anunoby has played in. We're talking about players who impact winning. Not only with their play on the floor, but their contributions to the culture. That means something. It means something. So Josh Hart has been nothing short of that. He's been that on the floor. He's been that off the floor. The way this man impacts the community, the way he engages with the fan base. This team and these players have been intentional about making sure that they connect to the fan base on social media. I'm telling you, the New York Knicks, we mess around and get one championship, bro. They're going to have to study us from the top to the bottom, organizationally, the players, and how the players act on and off the court. It's been a masterclass for how you turn around an organization that's been in the gutter for 25 years. They've done masterful jobs of reconnecting with the fan base, reconnecting with past players, resurfacing the culture and the lore of New York. Everybody wants to be part of the front row. Derek Harper has been shitting on us since he's left the New York Knicks, and now he completely outside, he completely with no hesitation. Oh, I'm a Maverick. I'm a Dallas Maverick until recent times when Jalen Brunson switched over, and then he was hating on us because Brunson came to us. Oh, New York Knicks, and I don't know how he's going to do in the spotlight. Yeah, so when he became a superstar, and then now you see all that excitement and all his former teammates being recognized in the front row, and the Knicks are winning. Now that shine and that shimmer is back on Madison Square Garden. Now he's looking from afar like, oh man, I was excited with those guys. I wanted to be there with them. Yeah, now everybody wants to be there. Shumpert or JR, now they want to be there. Everybody wants to be there. And Josh Hart is a major part of that. We're going to also talk about Randall and RJ and IQ. They were a major part of that. But we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about Josh Hart being one of the main contributors who really, when he came on, we knew him as an energy guy. He has done so much more. He's done so much more. And he's another name on the list of players who come and play within a Tom Thibodeau type of system, and they end up being more than they were asked for. Tom Thibodeau gets maximum amount of juicage out of his players. You're going to start talking about Tom Thibodeau like you talk about D'Antoni, because often when they leave, many times they don't produce at the same level as they did when they played under Tom Thibodeau. So now we're going to start saying, oh yeah, you only get those type of numbers when you play in Tibbs' system. And then they're going to start asking players, are they system players because you played under Tom Thibodeau? So I just want to take this opportunity. It's going to be a real quick round of applause for Josh Hart, man. Josh Hart really stepped out of himself last night. No, he didn't actually, because this is what he's been really doing over the period of the time he's been in New York, just improving. So round of applause, Josh Hart. You are the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese. Next up, who's the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese? The egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese is our guy, Big Purr. Let's go Big Purr. Karl Anthony Towns. Round of applause for Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns is so funny. Another night he is outshined, although he had more points. It was a quiet 32 points, 13 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Ladies and gentlemen, when have we been able to say a player is scoring 30 points, 13 rebounds, and it's quiet? 30 points, 13 rebounds, the last 2 games he scored the same thing, and it's quiet. That's crazy. Shout out to my boy Merrill. He was on someone's podcast last night, and I'm gonna let y'all hear this as well. But he said, I never expected a player to come to the New York Knicks and blend in so seamlessly. He said it was almost like he was in Minnesota, and you know how, when you're preparing, I guess, food, the chickens, and you have the injection, you inject the spice and the seasoning. He said it's almost like when he got traded over to the New York Knicks, that he got injected with like Dominican seasoning or Dominican juices and New York juices, and automatically he's like, yo, yeah, New York, and he's playing strong or whatever have you. And it's funny because I made a video about Karl Anthony Towns saying that when you come back to play in New York in this system under Tibbs, I think he's just going to turn it on. And he said, oh, you think, and I'm going to post it too, oh, you just think he's going to magically switch up and become a strong player and become a tough player and not be soft? You out of your mind. He should get the Nasa Nayuwala moment of the game, because I called it. And to his credit, he was just like, he was vocal about it, but he was wrong, all right? So Karl Anthony Towns, man, once again, continues to be the difference maker for us. He's another player. He's the second player today. I think there's going to be a pattern developing today. He is the second player today that I know immediately Minnesota is wondering, did we F up? They got to be like, yo, we F'd up, bro. We F'd up. Do you see how he's playing in New York? We F'd up. We should have gotten more. They have to be looking at that move. Maybe they don't look at the move and say we shouldn't have traded him. I'm sure that's going to come up. But they're going to have to look at that move and say, damn, did we get enough? Because Karl Anthony Towns has been more than advertised. He has been more than advertised. And once again, you can't say enough about his fit in the team. There was no period of awkwardness. The man is connected with the teammates, just the whole room. It feels like everybody likes each other. From the last person on the bench to the G League team. It's crazy to see, man. So shout out to our egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese, Karl Anthony Towns, baby. Round of applause for that man. Next up is the cheese, and the cheese got to go to OG, baby. OG Anunoby. Round of applause for OG Anunoby. Just like Josh Hart, OG Anunoby has come up on his anniversary of being traded to the New York Knicks. We sent him out in a controversial trade for many of the New York Knicks fans in terms of sending out RJ Barrett and IQ. It's so crazy, man. I was reading an article, and the article was talking about Worldwide West was the one that called and informed IQ that he was traded. And he said when he answered the phone, Worldwide West needed a few moments because he broke down and started crying. And, it could be a business for us Knicks fans because we are not intimately connected to these players. But what the New York Knicks did in terms of working on the culture over these years, that's why I say it has to be definite recognition for RJ Barrett, IQ, Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. These are Elfrid Payton. These are players that really were part of this turnaround. Nerlens Noel, Mitch Robinson, who's still here. These are players who really were part of that turnaround and helped change the feel of playing in New York, helped change the perception of playing for Tom Thibodeau. And for him to make that call, and it was just like, yo, he cried because he knew, you know, how much IQ loved New York. He also knew IQ wanted to be paid. And I think that he knew that IQ wanted to, you know, help be part of turning this thing around and be here while it was successful. But when they made that trade, that's an opportunity where you make a decision head over heart. And it's so funny, that's a lesson for life. That's a lesson that if you really are serious about the direction of your life, there are going to come moments where you have to make a head over a heart decision. That's an absolute bar right there. And that's what the New York Knicks did. And it hurt for the moment, but they knew it was in the best decision. It was in the best interest of the health of the organization. And we see how healthy the organization is now as a result of having made that decision. So with that being said, OG Anunoby, 18 points last night, 1 block, 1 assist, 1 rebound. Once again, when we talk about McCall Bridges, when we talk about OG Anunoby, when we talk about Josh Hart, on any given night, the New York Knicks can kill you in any number of ways. Shut down Jalen Brunson, somebody else is going to stab you. Shut down Karl Anthony Towns, somebody else is going to trip you and put you in a leg lock. You're going to find yourself in a triangle. The New York Knicks are so versatile that they can find ways to win in so many different ways. Stop them from shooting 3-pointers. They're going to take you to Mid-East City, baby, and kill you with mid-range shots. This is what they do. The New York Knicks are quickly turning into an organization that can beat you in multiple facets of ways in terms of how they secure victories. And don't think that the other teams in the NBA are not watching and paying attention and figuring it out, okay? So, OG did that last night. He too had a series of about 3 3-pointers in a row. And once again, teams don't know what to do. Like, who do you guard? And I love it. So, round of applause for the cheese of the game. Our guy, OG Anunoby. All right? Now, when we're talking about the dollar slice, it's tough to keep the captain down. So I was thinking about putting him somewhere else, but we're going to give him the dollar slice. The dollar slice represents stability in New York. In terms of the deli, the dollar slice will go to Jalen Motherflippin' Brunson. Round of applause for Captain Clutch. Round of applause for the Brundertaker, Jalen Brunson. It wasn't 55 points, but the man hit him with 18.6 assists, continuing to find ways to impact the game without overdoing it. Something I love about this Knicks team is there's very few instances this season where we've said the player's forcing it. The player's forcing it. The ball is sticking too much. Very few instances since the moves that we made where we've, as fans, been able to say that. And this is no different. Jalen Brunson, 18.6 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. Once again, you're starting to see the defensive intensity level as a team increase as well. So I love it, man. Round of applause and a shout out to Jalen Brunson, the dollar slice today here at Knicks Deli. And next up, who are we going to give the chopped cheese? Obviously, we're going to give it to the other half of the Nova Boys, the other quarter of the Nova Boys. We're going to give it to our guy, Money McCall Bridges, Mid-East City McCall Bridges. Okay? McCall is actually stepping into his bag again, man. Between the 3-pointers, we can't just box him in as a Mid-East City type of player. That's the difference. I often like to compare him to Richard Hamilton of the Detroit Pistons. But what he's doing as he continues to build on the progress that he's making with the New York Knicks this season is he's also starting to separate himself. You can't box him in as just a mid-range shooter. He's now showing his bag that he's more than a mid-range shooter. He can drive and slash to the basket. He can dunk the basketball, or he can hit the 3-point shot. And that's what we're starting to see from McCall Bridges. He had 13 points, 2 assists, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 3 rebounds. I'm messing that up. 13 points, 2 steals, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. So he's showing that he is a well-rounded player. And you know, Tibbs ain't going to demand anything less than that. Also, just to be a savage on the defensive side as well. So the chopped cheese today goes to our guy, Midi City, McCall Bridges. Round of applause. Now the quarter water of the game, that person that comes in and injects energy to the game, is Miles McBride. Round of applause for the quarter water of the game, our guy, Miles Deuce McBride. Deuce came in and dropped down 8 quick points, you know, but also something I'm continuously proud of is the 6 assists. That number is key. He had 3 steals to go along with it and 2 rebounds. Between Josh Hart and Deuce McBride, I don't know who plays bigger as a guard. You know, we know that Deuce is a former football player. You know, Deuce is athletic, but I just love the energy that he brings. I love the fact that he stays in tune. I love the connection he has with the first team as well. Many of the players, Josh Hart also does that. He vacillates between the first team and the second team effortlessly, and Miles McBride does the same thing. So we're going to give the quarter water today to Miles Deuce McBride. Round of applause for the quarter water, Deuce. And just before I get into that, now let me keep going. So who's going to get the glizzy of the game? We talked about all of the positive pieces. Let's talk about who gets the glizzy of the game today. And the glizzy of the game doesn't go to a player in the Wizards or the Knicks organization. The glizzy of the game goes to Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein, yeah, bro, step up to the front. Come up to the front. There we go. You get the glizzy of the game, my guy. And I'm giving him the glizzy of the game because, to me, I keep saying, yo, why can't former players or even reporters stop engaging these players to keep our names in their mouths? So I think the question was brought up about the difference of playing with Shai Gilchrist Alexander, SGA, and playing with Brunson. And Hartenstein's, Hart's response was something along the lines of, you know, yeah, when it was Brunson, you know, we focused on the 2-man game, you know, a lot of pick and pop, pick and roll, you know. He said, but with Shai, you know, he's just so offensively gifted, you know, sometimes you just got to give him the ball and get it out of the way, you know. And he's saying it, and I know that's his point guard. You know, and you got to be mindful, you know, so you got to be mindful about who he's playing with currently. But part of it was kind of like, it sounded almost like a slight, you know? And I don't know, maybe that's just New York is. Maybe that's just me being a fan and being biased. It almost sounded like a slight because basically what he was saying is SGA is selfish. You know, give him the ball and get out of the way. That, to me, that sounds like a ball hog. And it sounds like with Brunson, you know, you get everybody involved. And I say this, you know, both are playing good basketball, but you see our style of play. So whether or not it comes off that way, we see what's reflecting on the floor and we see the success that's going on with it. So I'm just still going to give him the glizzy because I just don't like how much he's talking since he's left New York. So glizzy of the game goes to Isaiah Hartenstein. Enjoy that thing, buddy. Now, who gets the nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the game before I wrap this thing up? And the nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the game goes to De'Aaron Fox. Once again, not a New York person, not a Washington Wizards person, De'Aaron Fox. And you get the nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the game because of the statement that you made after Mike Brown got fired. I'm not a Mike Brown fan, you know. And listen, I know coaches have a fraternity. I know players have a fraternity. And I might be giving myself the nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the game because I'm not in those conversations. But it bothers me sometimes when you know players are behind a coach getting dismissed, you know? And it just drips that De'Aaron Fox was the reason why Mike Brown lost his job. And it just seemed as if Mike Brown was trying to hold his players accountable, trying to challenge the star of his team. Because the reporters ask him, like, sometimes, when coaches lose their job, there's some guilt associated with that. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel bad for him or whatever have you? And he was like, nah, he's still getting paid. Like that was his attitude overall. I'm paraphrasing, but you could go back. I'm not far off from what he said. But he was just like, well, guilty? I don't know if I would use the word guilty. It's like he's still getting paid. Yeah, I'm getting paid. Like, what? So a lot of times, and I'm glad that we're not in that place now as Knicks fans for the New York Knicks. But when we were down bad, it was a pipe dream to be like, damn, if we had a player like De'Aaron Fox at point guard. We always wanted a point guard that was good. Always. And we never really had it. That was always elusive for us. And there were moments early on where he was setting the league on fire. We were like, damn, if we had a De'Aaron Fox, we passed on him, I think, if we had him in terms of the draft. We were just like, man, if we had a De'Aaron Fox, it would be different. I don't want that cat. Nobody wants that cat. That's the type of attitude. He doesn't ooze leadership. You don't hear stories of leadership coming from out of Sacramento with De'Aaron Fox. You don't hear that. And this is an example of it. The man is gone. I understand independence. I understand not, going with the grain. But, bruh, like, you don't got to play for him no more. You can just be like, I'm not really, I got to stay focused on the team. Things happen and, players, we have to adjust. And, it's above my pay grade. Just say that. But your comments was almost like some seasoning on top, making sure that the coach here, like, yeah, you're going to get paid anyway. Because that sounds like you were part of the discussion. Because it sounds like that was part of a discussion that was had. Well, damn, I feel bad for his family. Well, we'll continue to pay him, but we'll move on from him and find something else. Oh, all right, cool. That sounds like that's how that conversation went. So, my guy, De'Aaron Fox, he ain't my guy. Yeah, you get the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. Because you wildin' for that one. Nah, son, nah. You wildin'. So let me just summarize this, man. It is the new year. I wanted to get that video out of the way. It's been great just watching some games. Like I said, I've been having to watch games after the fact. Started the season because work has been so crazy that I haven't had many opportunities to make videos. I'm going to be more consistent with it. I love the fact that y'all are rocking with me with the new videos. In 1 week, I think I was able to get like 147 subscribers. And when you are new, I've had the channel for about 2 years. So I'm still new. You can still smell the Similac on me as a content creator. But every subscriber, it's a great look. And we appreciate that. Every comment that you leave, good or bad. Listen, we ain't scared of criticism. Look, y'all ain't always got to agree with me. That's why we get the glizzy of the game. You know what I mean? Everybody eats here at Knicks Deli. But I just thank you for supporting the channel. This is the wrap up of the second year for me. I think I'm going into year 3 in terms of this channel. But thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for helping me grow this thing. I take suggestions. I was considering switching over the quarter water to the Arizona iced tea. So suggestions like that. Shout out to my guy Wiz who made that suggestion. Shout out to my guy Wiz. All of my day one subscribers, KD community. We building this thing out, baby. And we're growing fast. We're growing fast. So enjoy the ride, stay with me, and we're going to build this thing out. But I just want to wish you all a phenomenal 2025. I want you to attack your dreams. I want you to give the middle fingers to the haters. I want you to, no. You come here. You send the haters over here. And I'm going to send them I'm going to tell them we all out of everything else on the menu but one item. You send them to me, I'm going to hit them with the glizzy. I'm going to hit them with the glizzy of the game. All right? And, just best of luck, man. Best of luck with health, prosperity to you and your families. Keep this in mind. The same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this. Whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy Sheer. 8 game win streak. Let's make it 9. I'm out. Peace. Happy New Year.